about this, right? That they wear like they show more skin.
It could be, you know. The thing is, it's like that's that's not something to build your game on, you know. There's a lot of like little tidbits from studies, like, oh, girls in Seattle are hornier than girls in Portland, Oregon. You know, there's little tidbits of stuff like that floating around on like FHM and all these bullshit websites. But I don't think it's something to build your game on. You know, that I would file that under this is what I call a 1% advantage. Going out and looking for the girl that's showing a little more skin, yeah, it might give you a 1% advantage to your game, but it's not going to be enough to get you laid. You know, the better way to go about learning is to just forget all those 1% advantages and those little bullshit tricks, and just build your game solidly from foundations and build great fundamentals like style and voice tone and conversational repertoire, and build substance, and don't just try to like pick off, you know, the girl who's showing a little more skin. It's just not a good learning process in my opinion.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, there's like a process that I go through if I'm looking to do a same-day poll, and I teach this to all my students, and my coaches all know how to do it. And it starts with the way you open. There's a lot of different ways to open, and for me and the guys I teach, I think it's more effective to open with something that's pretty aggressive. And I don't mean direct, I mean like some like kind of like very ballsy humor. So you're kind of like teasing the girl right from the beginning. So the reason that we want to do it this way is because we're looking for a strong response. Strong response puts you on the right step to a one-night stand. So you're either going to get a very strong attraction or a very strong blowout from that. And that's good. Blowouts are good for you if you want to get same-day pull. Because the biggest problem with looking for same-day pulls is opening like kind of weak, but being like just okay enough to talk to, and the girl's not really attracted, but she talks to you anyway for a while, and then after 20 minutes she's like, all right, well, see ya. You know, we call that the 20-minute go nowhere set.
Yeah.
And the 20-minute go nowhere set, that can kind of waste your night. So you want to avoid that, and the best way to avoid it is by opening, you know, with a little more intensity, so that you get more blowouts and higher attraction. You're not going to get a girl to come home with you same day if she's lukewarm with you in the first, you know, 3 minutes. We want that explosive attraction, or the explosive blowout, right off the bat, like in under 30 seconds. You should know. So that's the first step to it. If you can't do that, and you're going in with like, you know, more safe kinds of ways of opening, then one night stand game is probably not going to be your thing, I think. A lot of people want to learn the blowout proof openers. To me, that's not really effective because it's going to lead to more 20-minute go nowhere sets. So it's better to blow out than to do that 20-minute go nowhere set. And if you're really afraid of blowing out, then, you know, you shouldn't even be thinking about one night stands, because, you know, blowing out is harmless, and it's just part of the game, and it's a normal part of the game. It's a healthy part of the game. All the great ones still get blown out. I get blown out. My coaches get blown out. The naturals get blown out sometimes. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be afraid of. So, okay, once you can do that.
Can I interrupt with 2 quick questions?
Yeah, sure.
What's an example of a line that might fit into that criteria you just described? An opening line.
An opening line like that might be the roofie opener. Here's a new opener that we're using. We'll say to a girl, hey, somebody just handed me this drink, and I think it might have a roofie in it. Could you do me a favor and drink some and tell me if you feel sleepy?
That's good. Great. For those of you who are listening, you can write that one down. My other question, which I've always wondered for a long time, is are these type of girls, like, would it make a difference if you're a good-looking guy versus just an average-looking guy? Would she respond that way to any guy that I open her because of the state that she's in?
There's certain girls who like certain looks. It doesn't necessarily come down to good looking or not good looking. You know, there's just some girls who go for certain types. You know, you could be classically good looking, you know, with average features and look like a soap opera actor. And to some girls, that just won't be their type, you know. So, in my opinion, anybody can sort of like make themselves look good depending on like what they wear and how they kind of frame their personality with their style and their identity and their clothing. It's really about the whole package, more so than just about like, are you good looking or not, you know.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So if you've opened strong and you've gotten some high attraction, you know, typically what I say to students and what I try to do myself is do 10 approaches during the night. If you don't do 10 approaches, you know, you're limiting your options. And there's something to the law of probability and the numbers game and all that. So give yourself 10 approaches, and if you're good, if you have good game, you'll probably get like 4 girls attracted to you, maybe. Maybe you'll get like 2 blowouts. Maybe you'll get a few that go nowhere. But if you can do 10 sets and you can get 4 girls attracted, I think you're well on your way to having that one-night stand. So from there, it's just about strategy and logistics. Because there's some girls who are attracted to you, but they will not go home with you because the way their life is set up or their night is set up just completely makes it out of the question. Like if a girl is there and she's the designated driver and she's got 4 friends with her and they're all cockblockers and they're all man-haters, your game is not going to be good enough to take that girl home. She's not going to tell all her friends to get lost so she can go home and suck your dick. It's just not going to happen. So,
damn.
Yeah, sorry, dude. So, what we try to do is like, let's say I have 4 girls attracted to me. Now I'm going to look at each one's individual situation, like how many people is she there with? Does she have to work in the morning? Does she live with roommates? Does she live with her parents? You know, and I'm going to choose the one that has the best logistics. The other 3, I'm going to, of course, try to get those girls too, but I'll just like take a number on those girls and call them the next day or call them if it falls through with the first choice girl. So the girl that has the best logistics, what I'm going to try to do is kind of like stick with that girl for longer and like talk to her and get to know her and all that stuff, because I know she's my best bet. And then it just comes down to like managing those logistics while keeping attraction high. If you have a lot of attraction, the girl will help manage the logistics herself. So that's important. And you know, sometimes you have to travel with their whole group. When I learned I was going solo, you know, for the most part, and I would meet a group and I would have it, you know, my game would be going pretty good with one girl, and then their whole group would like bounce to a diner or to IHOP or whatever, and I would just go along on that trip, and that's how I would do like my first few pulls. That's how I did them. So open strong, gather logistics, number close the ones with bad logistics, and stick around with the ones with good logistics. And you know, that's pretty much the recipe. You know, there's a lot of little nuances to it, but that's something you can use tonight.
When you get her home and when you end up at her place, is the physical escalation pretty natural, or do you still have to run game at that point?
It just depends from girl to girl. You know, some girls have more resistance than others. Some girls don't put up a lot of resistance. In my experience, you know, I've probably gotten a lot of resistance most of the time. I haven't had too many experiences where it's just, you know, right away, no resistance. That would be great. I've heard about it, but I haven't experienced it that often myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it does take a lot of game to kind of seal the deal. And me and my coaches teach a method for this, and we call it rinse and repeat. So here's how rinse and repeat works. The idea is to escalate the girl until she stops you. So you have to continue escalating until she says no. So if you're making out with a girl and she hasn't said no yet, you got to advance, grab some titties, start taking her clothes off. At some point, she's going to say, nope, that's enough. We went too far. That's enough.
Mm-hmm.
She says no, you stop. You talk about something else. You hang out for 5-10 minutes. And then you start escalating again. And typically, you might get a little further than last time. So you're making out, maybe you're grabbing some titties, maybe you got some of her clothes off, and then she's going to say it again. Nope, stop right there.
Mm.
So this requires some, you got to read into what's going on. When you stop for 5 minutes, the girl will send you a message on whether she wants to try again or not. And it's really easy to read. The girl has 5 minutes to take herself out of the situation. So if she really doesn't want to be escalated anymore, she'll say, oh, well, I'm going home. I got to get out of here. I got to go meet my friends, blah, blah, blah. She'll start making excuses, and then she'll leave. But if she doesn't leave, then that is the green light to re-escalate again. So she's telling you by staying there that you should try again. Girls like to be re-escalated over and over. It makes them like hornier and hornier, and they get more comfortable with the possibility of having sex as you kind of re-escalate this over and over. So, you know, you may rinse and repeat 4, 5, 6 times in a night, even more. You never know. And each time you might get a little closer. Sometimes you might be farther away. But the key is you always try again and again and again with 5-minute breaks in between, or 10, 15 minutes is fine too, until she either goes home or has sex with you. You shouldn't be stopping before one of those two conclusions, because if you are, you're kind of like under-escalating the situation. The girl can't escalate you. You have to escalate her. And how much should you escalate her is the question. Well, easy answer. You should escalate the girl until she either has sex with you or go home. Or you just get tired, whichever comes first. But don't get tired. Try to stick with it, even if you're tired.